Hey, what's up, guys? It's Ryzen. It's Ryzen up to my side always, and I'm gonna stress this right now and a little bit more over the time I'm doing this. Please check out the Discord server, fine tuned it, and there's a lot of stuff on there. And also shout out to Yellow Flash that's in my Discord server actually, because they suggested to do, I forget exactly which one, but I think it was jinchuuriki or something like that. Hold up, I'll go tell you. Okay, so Yellow Flash actually suggested with Naruto rebuild his clan, and I decided to make him go with the jinchuuriki was a clan thing. So, love the explanation. The explanation is the jinchuuriki was originally a clan, and honestly, it was 9 separate branches. It was no main branches or anything like that. Well, the main branch was split up a long time ago. That was the 10-tailed branch, which was overruled and overcome by the 9 different separate branches. They each had their respective tailed beasts, and that was basically their god and where they drew power from. Over the years, each generation, their power get more diluted. There was never a mix of any two things, and if there were ever to be a mix, then it would create something new. Or, well, in this case, it would create, if it was like the 1 tails and the 2 tails, it would create the 3 tails, and they'll formally adopt that child of the 2. And the 2 would, be executed for even doing that. They do not want the different beasts to form together to form the 10 tails once again. So, now that that's done, I'll keep explaining. And they were actually very powerful. They each leader could do a tail beast bomb that can easily destroy 2 villages. So every village and every land got together to formally destroy it. Obviously, they succeeded, and that's why Naruto is rebuilding that clan. They basically did like the Konoha Crush plan. They hosted the shooting exams there in every village, threw so many paper bombs that everyone just died. Anyone that wasn't formally like in their village died. So obviously the jinchuuriki had survived, but they was obviously caught prisoner and became prisoners of wars. Now, Hashirama at this time actually is a person that contains, like, it. He restricts the power of the head, but the head did have children, and that child is Naruto. Well, that child is Minato, and then Minato had Naruto, which is actually half Uzumaki and half Kurama. That's what they call themselves. Naruto do not have the 9 tails exactly sealed within him, as the 9 tails is sealed in his former village, which is the village hidden in the tailed beast. Well, the village hidden in a beast. This was sealed in his compound long time ago. But he can drain his chakra anytime he feels like it. And it doesn't come with that drawback of not being able to use his chakra properly. He could use his chakra and he could draw in the chakra of the tailed beast. So he basically is just, at this point, he's OP. Hashirama has long since been dead, so no one's containing while restricting the tailed beast powers. Naruto at this time would be considered the head of the Kurama clan, even though he's just 4 at this time. He's the head. Now, let's skip forward about 8 years. Naruto is 12, just about the time in the beginning of this series. Naruto has been researching his kind for a long time now, since he was the age of 4. He had been researching his clan, and he finally found out what really happened to him this day. And Naruto went through the whole thing with Mizuki, but instead of Mizuki revealing that Naruto is the 9-tailed demon fox, he reveals that Naruto's clan was actually destroyed by Hidden Leaf, Hidden Sand, and every other village. And honestly, now that Naruto knows this, he's not gonna he still won't let Mizuki escape because he's pretty annoyed. And he draws the 9-tailed chakra. And he unintentionally draws on it, and he absolutely whoops Mizuki within like 3 seconds. And Aruka lies, and Naruto is still mad. He talks to Aruka about this, and Aruka says, yeah, we did it. And Naruto says, Aruka, you have 2 choices. You can either join me because I'm gonna leave this village. You can either join me in rebuilding my clan, and both clans, that is, as he talked about the Uzumaki clan as well. They basically just wants to fuse the Kurama and Uzumaki clans together. And he said you can either join me in this and worship the Nine Tails. And by the way, Rook's parents was still alive because the Nine Tails attack never happened. You could worship the Nine Tails with me as he is my god, or you could die. And Naruto really doesn't want to betray the Haley village, so he obviously says, well, I'll just die then. And Naruto takes out kunai and slits his throat. At this time, Naruto is far more distant from Iruka than in the main canon. Obviously, Naruto would not do this in the main canon, but he would do this in my series. So, he slits his throat, and honestly, Iruka dies. Naruto then flees, using the Nine Tails tracker still on the intention, and he actually amps up the cloak, the One Tails cloak, and he disappears in a matter of seconds. Hiruzen is still very, very mad. He actually was not very friendly. By the way, Minato was never Hokage, because Minato could not have that luxury of being Hokage. But at this time, Hiruzen doesn't like the Nine Tails clan at all. So he actually treated Naruto pretty badly in general, way worse than in canon. So Naruto goes to where Mizuki told him where the fallen village was, and he finds it pretty easily actually, and he sees everyone. He sees and he senses the Nine Tails. He senses every tailed beast. Now, for those who don't know, in the main series, Naruto is actually Ashura, and while Sasuke is Indra. We're going to talk about Sasuke a little bit later on. I'm just going to keep on Naruto for right now. Naruto has a natural connection to the tailed beasts, as Ashura is actually the son of the sage Sasuke who created all the tailed beasts. So he can sense them all immediately. And he's kind of saddened, but he realized he has to rebuild specifically here, because that's where the only parts of it is. So he actually goes out, since music revealed way too much for his own good. He's trying to persuade Naruto to go to Orochimaru's side. But he actually told Naruto that each village contains the head of that clan that he's from. So he says, well, since I know where they all are, he goes immediately and dips off to the sand. Now, he actually, along the way, he finds Orochimaru's hideout. Let's just say he just stumbles upon it. And he talks to Orochimaru, not exactly, but he finds one to Orochimaru's hideout. And the shadow clone of Orochimaru's actually placed there. He bodies the shadow clone and keeps moving on. And he finds Kirin there. And she's a Uzumaki, and Naruto's able to tell that by the red hair, since they're the only one with red hair, apparently. And he straight up just says, well, yada, 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 do you want to join me? I'm rebuilding my clan. And he says, oh, what are you? He says, I'm half Kurama and half Uzumaki. I want to rebuild them both. And Kirin is obviously all for it, as the Kurama clan actually was very widely known to be very powerful. And he actually says, I'm actually the head of the Kurama clan. And that gives her even more incentive to join. So he finds her, takes her along with her. There isn't that many Uzumaki. I'm gonna personally create one more. We're not gonna talk about it. So he actually goes ahead and finds what's his name? Gaara, my favorite character. He finds Gaara, and this is in the middle of a rampage. Naruto says, Gaara, and Gaara immediately turns around. It says, and he's basically raging right now. And he tries to attack Naruto, but Naruto instantly drills on the three tails and slams him down to the ground. And Naruto says, we're leaving this village. And the Kazekage, God, I couldn't talk while saying that name, is technically, he's the head of the Shukaku head. He's the Shukaku head. He says, where is your father? You're not the head yet. And Naruto wants to rebuild it as pretty much all children, because they're the least likely to betray the village again. Naruto actually finds a Kazekage using Gaara, and they tag team the Kazekage. Even though he could easily outbeat them in every single aspect, Kirin is also there, so he has to also avoid her chains, which she actually catches him one time. But I'm gonna make a slight deviation and say she's more closely related to Hashirama, and so her chains actually also absorb chakra. So while his legs is being like caught up, his chakra is also being absorbed. So while his chakra is being absorbed, Naruto is actually gaining more power. Currently, he had 2 tails, and he's gaining more to 2 or 3 tails. He was about to go 4 tails, but he's calmed down because his skin. He realized his skin was probably peeling off up about this time, and he doesn't, want to be in the hospital for extended months of period because of his burnt skin. So, what ends up happening is more life in the canon series. They actually went to go find Orochimaru because Rasa is still defending them off. And they take Orochimaru's heart. Orochimaru says he will align the Sound Village will align themselves with the Tailed Beast, the village hidden in the Beast. So basically the Beast Village. And since they formed this alliance, Naruto is the head of the whole thing. He only has Gaara and Kirin at this time, but he is the head of the whole thing. And so once Naruto realized that, we have a pretty powerful ally, he goes back to his same village. And this is about 1 year later, by the way. This is Naruto trained to utilize the Nine Tails power a whole lot more. And so did Gaara. He no longer spurgs out where he just goes on rampages. He can control himself. He can't transform into Shukaku. He can only transform to that mini Shukaku state. And he could even control himself into there. So Naruto about this time is 14, 13, around there. And Naruto dips off to the village again, and with Orochimaru's help, because Orochimaru's actually there. And honestly, not with, I can't remember his name, the Kaguya clan member. I can't remember his name. But he dips off without him because he's currently dead. The dude that Rock Lee fought while he was drunken. And he kills the Kazekage. And Norm, and they take Gaara, and they realize that they don't really have enough power. They need to go out, and because anyone could be part of that clan. Not like a bloodline. Well, it's more powerful, it's a bloodline. But anyone who worships any one of those beasts could be part of that clan. And they kind of realize that, and realize that they don't need the heads of each clan. It's preferably the heads of each clan. But if they can't get them, they could just kill them and find someone else. But they actually start recruiting rogue clan members. Sasuke has left the village at this time. Not for anything special, he just wants to find. They actually denied him the right of ever going against Itachi, so he decides to dip from the village. So, since Sasuke is roaming around just trying to find Itachi, even though last time he saw him, he was sorely outclassed. Orochimaru was also trying to find Sasuke as well, and so is Naruto. They want him to become the Eight Tails leader. They already realized that B was not gonna join them no matter what. He was too aligned to his village. So they want Sasuke to be the Eight Tails leader. Well, Orochimaru wants Sasuke's body, but they want Sasuke to be the leader. Well, Naruto does, and so does Gaara. And so eventually they find him. This is about 1 year and 6 months in. They find him, and they take him in and basically tell him everything, and they will give him permission to hunt down Itachi, and they would give him extra power. He does not get curse marked because Naruto doesn't allow it. He does not want that type of help from Orochimaru, where he would be too indebted to him to refuse anything that Orochimaru wants about becoming his enemy, which Naruto does not want to happen. Naruto at this time is thinking of his village, and he is much, much smarter. Yeah, since he had to go through all the villages, he had to obviously learn how to read and become smarter in his way of gathering information. So Naruto this time thinks more like a 30-year-old, like a middle-aged man. He still isn't at Hiruzen's level, but he's still smart enough to focus on his village a little bit more. And so he says, I give you the power to basically an 8-tailed power, and you basically have all the powers that I have, and he shows off all of his states that he can currently control without peeling off his skin. And this is currently at the 5-tailed state. And Naruto basically just said, even though that's a mandatory thing once you hit, I think 3, Naruto found a way around it. I give you much more powerful than this. You have 2 more states after this. I have 3 more states after this. Because they can't go to that full 9-tailed state or 8 tails or whatever his respective one state. So obviously, they're going to have to form a little bit different. Unless they really purge themselves to God, then they'll be able to transform to many versions of the God like Gaara does. So, just like Gaara does, but at this time, they can't do that. And Sasuke sees his power and wants it. He wants this power. He realizes how much more powerful he could become. And so he prays to Yuki, by the way. And he basically becomes their god. And he just praises the power that Yuki has. And Yuki isn't really much offended. So Yuki goes over to them and says, well, I can't officially make you the clan member, because all telepathically says I can't officially make you the clan member until you kill so-and-so, which is B. And Naruto is like, I am the clan member, and Kurama and Naruto is currently speaking as well. And says, I'm currently am the clan member, but I would like you, but I also want to fuse a different clan within this one. And Kurama is basically just like, which clan? And Naruto says, the Uzumaki and Senju. So he wants to combine those 3 clans. And they said, well, those 2 are pretty powerful clans. Yeah, go ahead. Because I already have a Uzumaki girl. She'll pray to you. You're going to have the power of a second in command, because that's basically what she is. And she could her maximum power is up to 8 tails. And so is Sasuke's. Well, Sasuke's is 7 tails. And only the clan member could really become that little embodiment of the 9, or whatever respective one they can. And for the ones that no one really wants to be part of the 1-tail clan, they can only control sand and different sand-like materials. They could form like their arms and stuff. Like they could form respective parts of their body, but they can never become that mini state at all, ever. But they are granted the protection, and they could pretty much control one arm to get in that mini arm state, like that mini Shukaku state, to like one arm, one leg, the other leg, the other arm, or something like that. And they can even form it like its head to like protect itself. Like if someone goes for a head or a neck, the whole thing could be transferred to like the mini Shukaku, and it won't be able to slice through it, obviously. So they basically vowed to make Sasuke a complete head, which is to kill B. But the Raikage is always next to him, so there's no possible way. Unless Orochimaru faces the Raikage, which Orochimaru would probably get destroyed, not even gonna lie to you. And so they actually deploy a different plan by making Orochimaru run. It looks like Orochimaru wants to take the 8 tails, but then he runs off when he sees the Raikage, and so obviously Raikage isn't that he's smart, but not that smart, and he's gonna chase after Orochimaru. Naruto, Sasuke, and Gaara sneaks in along with Kirin to restrain B and offs him. So that's basically what happens. But one thing didn't go as to plan. Kirin did not restrain B. And also Orochimaru clone was also destroyed a little bit outside of the village. They wanted to make it draw way further out. So the plan is pretty iffy. They have now a time constraint, and they have to refer someone more powerful than they was expecting. Naruto just says, well, I'm going to have to peel off my skin today. And he goes actually to the 6-tail state. This is enough to push B, and Naruto knocks him into, basically what Naruto does is knocks him into Kirin chains with a punch. And because obviously B, took the punch, he blocked the punch, but skirted him backwards to Kirin's chain, and Kirin starts absorbing his chakra, and Gaara launches sand that's in his form of spears and straight into B's head. So now Sasuke has to go. They have to dip as fast as they can, and so everyone basically goes to their maximum amount of power, which is Naruto is 8. Well, technically it's 9, but he don't want to go there. Naruto goes full power to 8 and dips off. And Sasuke goes full power to 7. Well, he goes full power to 7, yeah, and dips off. Shukaku is Naruto's in his Shukaku state, dips off, and Naruto's carrying with him. So they all pretty much dip off before the Raikage can even get to them. Because Orochimaru actually formed a different clone and made it seem like the real one. Like it was much more solid. And he could swap blows with the Raikage for like three times. And then that's distracting him enough for Naruto and everyone else to dip out. And they head back to their village. So once Sasuke goes back to talking to Yuki, they basically get the head. He gets the official title and official power of the head of the village, well, clan. And since that happened, they now have officially 3 heads and 1 co-head. One like a little co-head, second command, whatever you might call it. And that's Karen. She can actually perform it, but she doesn't like using the Nine Tails power, and it gives her. She can still see the chakra lights. Everyone there is dark. Besides, actually, yeah, everyone there is completely dark, and she thinks it's because of the powers they're using. Honestly, it's not, and it's because they all have respective traumatic experiences they have went through. That's why they're all dark. And Gaara's even more since his father hates him, and he's part of a extinct village that was blown up by every other village. And they go out and they actually get Fu here, which is in the thumbnail. She's a girl, and she isn't really at this time. She really isn't she just wants to have fun. And once Naruto explains the whole situation, she joins them. So I believe she is the 7 Tails. So hold up. Yeah, she's actually the 7 Tails. I got that right for once. But they basically get Fu and the 4. Well, whichever one that one that could blow bubbles is. They get those 2. The other ones are killed. So they are basically going after the rogue ninja that believe in their goal, or just want power enough to believe in their goal. And since they don't really have that too much rogue ninja that isn't immediately killed by their village, there's only one person they could get, which Haku actually survived in his timeline because there is no Naruto. There's a Sasuke, but there is no Naruto to kill Haku, so she actually survives. Well, he actually survives in this timeline. And they basically find him. And by the way, this is a whole few days after the initial recording. So they find him, and they basically, from what I can remember about this, they basically adopt him to one of the 4 clans they currently have. They were planning to make him have Son Goku's power, but then they realized he's an ice user, and he would probably be best with the bubble user. He would probably be best with the bubbles, so they adopt him under that one. Because ice plus water equals more ice. And they figured Naruto is fairly smart, like I said before. And so they keep just going around, but they realize there is a different organization trying to hunt them, called the Akatsuki. So they said, instead of having the Akatsuki count us down, let's go after them. And basically what happens is, every time the Akatsuki are by themselves, so at this time they actually have to sit into groups of 4. Because that's the only how they're able to defend themselves away from, besides Hidan and Kakazu, but that's the only how they could defend themselves against the jinchuuriki who are actively hunting them down. And Hidan, they eventually come across Hidan and Kakazu. They had killed Deidara, Sasori, and one other person. Y'all could decide that down in the comments. Whoever is the weakest out of that whole group. But eventually they run into Hidan. And after Naruto personally steps up to fight Hidan, Naruto immediately goes three tails and says, "I'm not gonna hold back against you. I can feel your power." He's lying, of course, but like Naruto at this time, because this is about, I believe I said Sasuke had just escaped, and yeah, so this would be right about the time that the 2 years marks. Naruto's way more powerful than Hidan, and Naruto at this time would probably go up to Hidan and says, "Let's fight without that stupid partner of yours." Kakazu would try to rush Naruto, but Haku actually rushes Kakazu instead and then slams it down to the ground and says, "Yo, you will wait your turn." And he cases first. He uses the bubble power, and then he encases him in ice. So Kakazu is currently out of commission. He's suspended in the ice. Like his whole body is literally frozen. And Naruto speed blitzes Hidan and punches him. Hidan honestly he's immortal. It pretty much is about to take off his head. It snaps his neck immediately. I should say, so he's immortal. I was right. And Naruto just started barrages him with punches and kicks. And Naruto says, "This is a technique that I wanted to save, but I show it to you since it's so powerful." And he says, "Naruto fighting style." And he twists his right foot slightly to the right and said, by the way, I'm currently watching God of High School. Well, reading the God of High School, so that's why we're doing that right now. But he says Naruto style. It says the tail of Kurama, and he kicks upwards, and it pretty much instantly decapitates Hidan. Naruto picks up Hidan's hand and says, "I'll grant you the power that you want. I'll grant you any power you want, and I'll pay you for it." Just by being in the village, Hidan gets paid. And so obviously Hidan's pretty happy with this, and he joins them basically. Naruto sits back his head using the nine tails chakra to basically perform as stitches. And Hidan says, "Well, who do I have to pray to?" Naruto already has a right hand man, so does the four tails. Thank you. I mean, the stupid thing with bubbles, four tails. But they said maybe he not only fit the four tails since he's immortal. He'd be able to use molten lava way more effectively. So they say, well, you'll be worshiping this as a god. And Hidan is very deeply disturbed because Jashin says, "So hold up, wait. Naruto says you could pray to Jashin, you could do whatever you like, so you could do your rituals, just not on the villages, just not on our village. You could pray to, this is like physical manifestation of a god. So just pray to it, it will show itself, and you gain its power. You could still pray to Jashin, they don't have anything against you." And Naruto had to explain the whole situation. So obviously, Hidan does kind of pray. He did connect to the four tails and says, "I would like to receive your power." That's what my master. Well, that's what Naruto told me to. And the four tails like, "All right then," and gives him the power. And at the time, he is able to transform up to two tails immediately. Like the second he gets his power, he's able to transform up to two tails. So obviously, like, they're pretty strong at this time. The two tails have still currently not been used. They are thinking of getting a new fire user. But other than that, though, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I would actually suggest, like I said earlier, from Yellow Flash, my Discord server, to make longer videos. So this is why this video should be around 29 to 30 minutes. Please go to my Discord server down in the description. That place gets pretty lively, as my friend, who's also starting a YouTube channel with currently, and I will be starting that. Me and him. He's down there. A couple of my IRL friends are actually in there too. So we talk there quite often. You get to know some things about me. But other than that, though, again, check out my Discord server and Instagram Rising Draws. But if you enjoy this video, tell family, friends, or anyone who likes anime content in general. And I hope you guys have a great day as always. And I'll see you guys later. Peace out.